Alright, this demo here is for the Cascade Microtech 11,000. Start right over here. Here's your probe station right here. You have your A zoom that goes ahead and controls to your video center over here. The microscope. You have a switch here to flip the microscope out pneumatically. So you go ahead and put the top hat, which I'll show you a little later. And then you have your focus on this side, and on this side you have your X and Y motion. The thing comes with two probes for our customer. Normally you have to buy those separately. And then you have the micro chamber with the keys open. Right now I got the chuck frozen, so I don't want to open it up too soon yet. And then you have your XY motion on the chuck itself down here, which I'll show you a little bit more. Down here you have your light controls. I'll show you a little bit more about this. Here's your lamp link 2. Your monitor, that's for the A zoom. And then you have your hot cold chuck. This is your actual temperature right here. And here's you have two presets. So right now, this chuck right now is at negative 65 degrees C. Over here, I'm going to remove this rubber thing that cover just to show you that the chuck is frozen. If you look at the chuck right here, you can see that it is iced up. And you can also look on the screen right here that it's kind of distorted. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down here, I'm going to hit this preset, which is 25 degrees, and you can see the chuck temperature going up. While the chuck is warming up, I'm going to show you that this customer bought two probers with this. They are vacuum, so right now as you can see I can move it around. As soon as I push this knob in, it's stationary, can't move it. Right here I'm going to move the Z. As you can see, it's raising up right here, lowering it back down. And then I have the Y. And then over here will be your X, and you can see it's moving side to side. I'll show you this on the other one. As you can see, she moves pretty easily as soon as I put the chuck in there or the vacuum on. Let me get over to where there's no screw holes, and you can see she's locked in. I'm going to move the chuck or the probe up and down, side to side. And back and forth. Back out of the way again. Okay, here's your chuck. Now I'm going to show you that this is the X motion, and if you look at the monitor screen, you'll see that it's going across too. And now I'm going to do the Y motion. Come in focus. There you go. Now, this has the A zoom on it, so you can see I can adjust the lighting to it's off, on, and also I can also adjust the zoom. The other thing too is this is the theta movement, and you can see that it is It's going on an angle. And let me zoom it in even more. That is at full magnification right now. Zoom in on I'm over here and show them the wafer. You can see how really magnified this thing is. I mean, the gray spot on the screen is actually that little tiny mark right there, which I'll put on the screen one more time to show you. It is, those little gray marks is actually that right there. Show you in good detail. And you can see she's almost at the set point, 25 degrees C. Now coming back to the back of the system, you can see all the hookups here. You got your coolant lines that run from the chuck. You also got your interconnect cable between the compressor and the controller. Also heavy duty AC line voltage. It requires 110 volts at 30 amps. And then you got your line that goes to your chuck that reads the temperature and applies the heat to it. This is a vacuum. It is our house vacuum. It doesn't come with the system. Over here is you have your interconnect cable that goes between your A-zoom, your light source, and your microscope. And then you have your N2 purge. I don't have it hooked up right now at the moment. And then you have your air in over here. And your vacuum hookup is all the way down here, which is actually my small little in-house vacuum pump. Like I said, if you want to remove, open up, and change the top hat is on its way. We just don't have it right now. If you want to, when you change, it will have a top hat that screws down in here where the microscope goes into it and keeps everything RF shielded or microwave shielded. These are all your little ports for your probes. All you got to do is just push in, and you can hear the vacuum coming out there for the probes to stay in one spot. The other thing too is you got your platen lift, and you can see that it raises and lowers your platen. And then you have your, let me open the door now. Here is where your chuck is, and I'm going to bring the chuck out. There's a lock in here so you can load it, put it in a load position, and I'll pull the whole chuck out. You can see here's your two coolant lines. So you can come here and change your wafer on the chuck, put it in there, and lock it in. It does have a lock switch on here. You also, on the chuck, you have different vacuum lines for different size wafers. So she's locked in. Probably have to have a better pump to get her really locked in completely. But once I take it off, it comes off pretty easy. And now over here you have the different for the different wafer sizes, 13 millimeter, 75, and 150 millimeter wafers. And then you got auxiliary stages that should be the end of the demo.